Remember this one? Do you guys remember this one?
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of I Was There Last Night, because I was there last night, and like I said, digital tickets, they are the future. Last night at Cervantes Ballroom, I saw Lacuna Coil featuring Stitched Up Heart, 9 Electric, and Painted Wives, so definitely a lot of fun. Fantastic show, but I was definitely there for one band. Stitched Up Heart is a band I've heard fairly recently, so being able to see them live gave me a little bit more exposure to them, which I thought was pretty cool. But why don't I just start by talking about the opening bands anyway? Actually, before I get to that, I want to talk about the location. This is a venue I've never actually been to before. Cervantes Ballroom is one of those places that, it looks like it used to be, a ballroom, probably a place that people went, on like a Friday or Saturday night to dance or do whatever people did in the 1950s. It's kind of outside the core part of town where you have a lot of venues. So it's off on its own. It's a small venue, definitely older. A small stage. So having a band like Lacuna Coil there is fine because they're not about all the theatrics. They're there just to play the music, which is exactly what they did. But a band like Slipknot would not work at a show like this. I don't think you could fit 20 people on the stage. How many people are in Slipknot anymore? 20? I don't know. But either way, I mean, it's a small venue, mostly just one big open area, one big open kind of general admission area. And then they have a bar and a balcony basically as well. So small venue, probably can hold, a couple thousand people max. I mean, it's not huge, really small, but definitely good bones and, good sound to it. So that's the venue. I was, pretty impressed. I'd definitely like to see another concert there. Hopefully somebody kind of like a Lacuna Coil who's not like this, needs to have a ton of space. If I saw Clutch there, that would be awesome. But I digress. So the opening bands, 2 of them I never heard of before. And those bands are Painted Wives and 9 Electric. Painted Wives, they came out and they were really like friendly and fun. They were, riffing with the crowd a little bit. Definitely just out there having a good time, which is good. They're from Orange County, I guess. I don't really know what kind of music they were playing. It was really hard to tell. It was kind of a, mixed metal, I guess would be the best way to say it. Vocally, I really couldn't pin it down. It almost vocally, kind of reminded me of some, you know, I don't know. I kept wanting to say Coheed, but not quite that. He didn't go quite that high as Coheed does, but it kind of reminded me a little bit of that. But musically speaking, they threw in, a bunch of different, kind of sounds. You'd get some like a little bit of Mastodon, you get a little bit of Catatonia, then just some like straight kind of aggressive, even almost like Lacuna Coil themselves, just really riffing type of sound. So it was really hard for me to pin down exactly what their sound was. But I'll give them credit; they definitely were enjoying themselves and getting the crowd involved, having a good time. So that's always good. When a young band comes out and does that, especially an unknown band, because they know we don't know their songs. I mean, some people did, but for the most part, the rest of us didn't. We'd never heard of this band before. So it's good for them, just to kind of go out and be like, this is what we've got. Here you go. Have fun. Um, and that's actually one of my things I really liked about this show is that even though the first two bands I wasn't big on, they didn't super impress me. It's good that they were there to begin with. There's a ticket like this. Obviously, people are there to see the headliner, but the alternative is they bring the headliner brings somebody that everybody knows, and so when you buy the ticket, you know what you're gonna get. Whereas this way, everybody there who's never heard of these bands gets to experience them, gets to learn about them, and maybe walks away a fan. You never know. It's always good to see new bands that you might not have been exposed to previously. Um, so I definitely like that formula. I mean, I like the other formula. I like buying a ticket to see Hatebreed and Devil Driver together because I know what I'm going to get, but I also know that I'm going to walk away happy. Whereas with new bands, you're not necessarily sure that you're going to walk away feeling, it was okay, or sometimes it's like, oh, that was bad. But in this case, I'm not going to say it was bad. It was just, kind of, I wasn't sure what to make of Painted Wives. Nine Electric, I have a little bit, more direct opinion of. They had ton of energy. These guys were extremely enthusiastic. They just came out and just started rocking out. Their outfits were very reminiscent of like 80s Judas Priest or Kiss, without the face paint. Just a lot of leather, a lot of studs. It was very like right off the bat. I was like, okay, what are we gonna get here? And sure enough, we got a very rock and roll kind of sound. Definitely a hard rock type band. When the only song obviously I knew was the one they closed on, which is their cover of AC/DC's "Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap," and which I thought was kind of on the nose because a lot of their sound was, I'm not going to say generic, but it reminded me a lot of somebody like a 3 Days Grace. That it was just kind of that formulaic type of rock. Now I'm going to back up though and say that pretty much every song they played could be a single on a radio. I mean, they played a lot of songs that are, and their sound is very fine tuned. I mean, they obviously know what they're doing. They haven't been around a lot. A lot of people, I think they said that they're releasing their debut album pretty soon. So they're a young band. Although I don't think age wise they're super young, but obviously they're a new band, and they have a good sound, and the crowd definitely was reacting to it. I personally was not. Thrilled by it. It was enjoyable, and I appreciated the energy. And actually, another thing I really did appreciate about the band was the fact that they showed up. They apparently had a car, issue on the way over, so they couldn't, they didn't make it to the venue on time. And I always respect bands who do that. I always think back to the time I saw Black Dahlia Murder, and they were only supposed to do like a 5-song set at this festival, but they had car issues and all that, so everyone basically said they're not going to show up. But then sure enough, they made it, and they were able to play a couple songs for us, even just like 2 or 3 songs, which I totally respect it, because it means like this is a band that obviously wants the fans to know that they appreciate them being there. And this, I mean, I'll give these guys the same credit, is that they, even though people don't know who they are, they're like, well, you guys paid to see us, so we're going to make it there. We're going to get there and do it. And what was cool to see about all 3 of these bands, the opening 3 bands, is that they did their own setup and teardown. They went in there, they built up the stage, they took it down, and then even there weren't a lot of roadies there to help everybody out. So being able to do that, I mean, that's also a sign of a band that's like, we're doing this because we love it. We want to we want to build our reputation, build our sound, and so by doing it themselves, it's a great, I mean, that's a great like sign, of dedication to their craft. So even though I wasn't overly impressed with their music, I definitely will give them a lot of credit for the other aspects of what they did. And their music, their music is not bad. It just didn't strike me. Painted Wives, even their music didn't really strike me so much, but it certainly wasn't bad. It's stuff that I think both of these bands could certainly build upon if they can get a little bit more exposure and a little bit bigger following. They definitely could. Both of them could make some waves for themselves. It's just wasn't necessarily my thing. The direct opener, which was Stitched Up Heart, that's a band, like I said, I've only recently gotten some exposure to them, and I dig them. I like their sound, kind of reminiscent of some older In This Moment, and even the lead singer, she definitely had the Maria Brink look, the bleach blonde hair, the arm full of tattoos, and even just the sound of her voice reminded me of Maria Brink quite a bit. So it makes me wonder if they're going to go the same path as In This Moment, but they might not. They could very well stay on the same trajectory that they've sort of built for themselves already. They've released an EP and a single from their new album. And the only song of theirs I actually recognized was "Finally Free," which they opened with, which was a really cool, just like a fun, good anthem, getting the crowd jacked up kind of song. But a couple other songs that they played that I remember the names of. One of them was "Event Horizon." That one was awesome. That song was just, oh, that was fantastic. And these guys have a ton of energy. They also are a really solid band already. All their elements are working really well together. You've got a drummer who's a sick drummer who's got some really good energy, definitely getting the crowd amped up before they even started their set. And then they've got the two guitarists and a bass player, all of which are really, I figure they all had some really good talents to them. And then of course the lead singer, with her vocals. There was one song, I forget which one, it might have been Event Horizon, where the lead singer had, one of the guitarists did backup vocals, and he had a really solid growl to him, which I love when bands throw the growl in there, but I like it when it actually is a good growl, and this guy definitely had a really good growl to him. They played 5 or 6 songs, I think, and they were really appreciative of the crowd. Lead singer, I wish I knew her name, but she definitely came out and really talked to the crowd and explained how appreciative she is of all of us being there, which is always nice. It's especially for young bands, it's good to remind the crowd that we're still, this is kind of our first few steps. We've been doing this for a while, but this is our first big step. Maybe not, this isn't their first big one, but I know it's they're building themselves up, and each time they go out with a big band like a Lacuna Coil, that gives them a little bit more exposure, and then they come back with even more exposure, and they've gained some more fans here, especially at the end of the show when all of these bands went to their merch tables and actually kind of schmooze with the crowd a little bit. I didn't partake, but it's definitely one of those good signs of this is how we get to know people, and this is how people get to know us as well. So definitely a big, awesome way to open up the show. These 3 bands, getting people amped up for Lacuna Coil. But truth be told, I was there to see Lacuna Coil, but I will say I was certainly impressed by Stitched Up Heart. They did have the sound I was hoping they would coming into it, and they played it live with the same kind of energy I would hope that they would. So here's a little clip from the Stitched Up Heart set, and when it's done, I'm going to talk about why I was there to begin with, and that is Lacuna Coil. was I there? I was there for Lacuna Coil, as I said. Um, Not a shocker. Lacuna Coil is a band that I've been listening to since I think 2003 or 2004. They've been around, for a long time, and since then they've put out a ton of awesome albums. And it's Lacuna Coil is one of those bands that never has really like jumped to the top of the popularity, and I'm actually kind of glad that that's happened because there was a point after, once I started listening to him, I started listening to him when Coma Lies came out. And actually, that's the last time I saw him live was back in 2000. I want to say it was 2004 at Ozfest. Um, when that album came out, that album just blew me away. It was so just magically beautiful. Um, After that, they came out with two consecutive albums, Karma Code and Shallow Life. And both of those albums really started to make me wonder, are they kind of going toward more of a pop rock type of sound, or are they going to continue to be this, kind of, doomy goth kind of sound that I came to know them for? And that's not, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing if they had changed, but it kind of made me wonder, is this their attempt to skyrocket into that kind of bigger notoriety that you'd expect? But then after that, they came out with Dark Adrenaline and Broken Crown Halo, and now their new album Delirium. Those albums have kind of reinforced why I love this band. Is they know what sound they make that works, and the albums that they've put out recently really emphasize that. And fortunately, last night they played most of their stuff from those three albums. They played a couple songs from Coma Lies, one song from Karma Code, or actually two songs, but most of what they played came from these last three albums, which was pretty awesome. They came out and started with Nothing Stands in Our Way. That's one of those that's just like a good, like, let's get the crowd going. I mean, there's only one other song I could think of that if they had opened with it would have just been that's the impact that you want to have. But they did play that song eventually, which is Swamped. And Swamped is one of those songs of theirs that like when I think of Lacuna Coil, that opening, just like, when Christina just comes out and just starts belting in on Swamped, that's the song that it's like, oh yeah, now we're getting amped up. It's one of those kind of power anthem songs that they, opened up, they opened up Coma Lies with. But they started with Nothing Stands in Our Way and then went right into Die and Rise. This is how you know that you've got, the crowd on your side, is when people are just like screaming the words along with you. And Die and Rise is one of those that, I mean, the chorus is simple enough that people can just like, vocalize it. And I know like my voice sounds it because I was screaming along with it. I love Lacuna Coil so much, and when they play a song like Die and Rise, which isn't even my favorite song on that album, but by hearing that song, it just oh, it just gets me so amped up and so jazzed to be hearing what they're bringing. A couple other songs that they started playing. They played Kill the Light, Victims. That was awesome. Victims was another just like great, like, because that's like really like brooding type of song, and it has that just strong riff track to it that really like brings people in. They did play Spellbound. I think that's the only one they played off of Shallow Life, which I'm fine with. It's probably their single from Shallow Life, but it is still one of the better ones. That it's fast paced, it's got a lot of energy, and it definitely gets people riled up. Then they finally jumped into their new album, Delirium, by playing the song House of Shame, which of the songs on Delirium is probably my favorite so far. I've only listened to the album, I think, once all the way through, and then I've kind of listened to a few songs here and there, but House of Shame is one that keeps coming back, as it's just like, that is an awesome track. It is so good. And so when they played that song, I was definitely really excited. And that's another one that really got the crowd kind of fired up and ready to go. From there, they finally went into Coma Lies, starting with what they said was the song that launched them in the States, which is true. It's the first song of theirs I heard. I think I saw it on like a music video on Fuse back when music videos were actually played on television. Heaven's a Lie is it's iconic Lacuna Coil. That is to me, that is their song. like when I think of Lacuna Coil, other people might disagree, but that's the song I always come back to. Is well, it's actually really the combination of Swamped and Heaven's a Lie. Is those two songs back to back, opening up Coma Lies, really that defines who Lacuna Coil is as a band. And now that they've kind of they've changed their sound a little bit, but almost come back to what made them great. So at the beginning, and now they continue to just keep making awesome music. Lacuna Coil, just they know how to make good, entertaining music. Um, then they went into Upside Down and followed that with Swamped, which, like I said, Swamped is the song that it really just it like I showed you the clip of it. I mean, it's that song that just it is so awesome. It's such a great song. I can't, and I'm just talking about the music here, but I mean the fact that the band themselves, they came out and they were crushing every single one of these. Christina has the amazing, just like you know her vocals are insane. Andrea, he's got the like he's the more metal side of it, but I mean the whole band, they just they grind it out. They throw it. Andrea, he had so much energy and was just like really getting the crowd into it. It's the dynamic of those two, the Christina and the Andrea, that it works so well together, and that's why I love Lacuna Coil so much. Is they have that dual vocal that it works. And on a song like Swamped or Intoxicated, which they played, those are songs that you really get how that dynamic works so well. Um, Christina then, she got her. And they also played Ghost in the Mist in there, which is off their new album. Which that was another awesome, just really great performance that they had. Cyber Sleep, that was one where Christina got to kind of do her own thing for a little bit. Which that it's a slower song, but it gives her an opportunity to really show off her vocal chops a little bit. They played Delirium off the new album, and I'm definitely enjoying that album and that song. Really good, and I mean, ultimately, I'm glad that they didn't play a ton off their new album because I don't know it as well as the other ones. But even if they did, I would probably appreciate those songs even more because just hearing them live puts that kind of that live twist on it, that it really emphasizes why they made that song. And they even explain, this is why we did these songs. They did it with Zombies, they did it with Ghosts in the Mists, they did it with Enjoy the Silence. They kind of explained why they chose to do these songs in the first place, what the inspiration was behind it, which I always appreciate hearing that. And then they closed their, the main set with Enjoy the Silence. And that was one where they really wanted to get the crowd involved. And I have a comment about that, but I'm going to save it for the end. Which, I mean, that's just a great song. It's a great cover of Depeche Mode. And that was one that I was, I don't have a great volume to my voice. So that's why I need a microphone. But that was one that I was singing like as loud as I could because it's, they wanted the crowd involved. So when they came back for the encore, they opened up with Trip the Darkness and Zombies. Like I said, they brought in Zombies, which that song, like that's a great song to put into the encore because it has so much energy, and it's a good way to just kind of like we're gonna go out on a bang. We're not gonna go out on something slow. We're gonna go out with something fierce and aggressive. But ultimately, they did end on Our Truth, which, like I said, is probably that might be their most popular song overall. It probably is. If you look at their entire discography, what their most popular song is might be Our Truth, but that's also the one that was, that was the time when they were starting to see the rise a little bit, and so they were really pushing for that song to get out there. Ultimately, though, it's still a great song, no matter what, and it was a great way to get people, like say, Good Night from Lacuna Coil, and I'm hoping to God that they come back soon, and I really, really do, and I hope that what happened at this event doesn't dissuade them from coming back. I'm going to call out some people who were there. So kind of, rounding up my review, Lacuna Coil was amazing. The crowd was also good in parts. there are two things that were a little bit annoying to me. One, it seemed like it was not a sold out show, which for Lacuna Coil is an insult. This band should be playing in bigger venues and they should be selling these places out. I'm not saying that they don't, but in Denver, they should be selling out in Denver. Denver has it has a growing music scene, and one that the people are appreciating good music more and more. And so to see so much empty space at this place, and this is not a huge place, but to see that empty space really kind of bothered me. But I mean, the people who were there were certainly engaged. They were the ones who were really, excited about Lacuna Coil and the other bands. I mean, the people were really into the groups, but it just wasn't. It wasn't a full house. But the other thing and this one really bugged me, and it's still bothering me a little bit, but basically front row center, there was this clump of people who throughout the entire Lacuna Coil set did nothing. They just stood there. The band was like, let me hear your voices, and people would scream. You'd have some people jumping around, losing their minds, but these people just stood there, and they just the only time that they actually did anything was when Lacuna Coil was like, raise your hand. Even then, not even all of them did it. They were just standing there like rocks. And if you're going to be front row center at a show, especially a small one where there is no barrier between the crowd and the stage, if you're going to be at that show and you're just going to stand there, get the fuck out, okay? I don't care if you don't know the band, or I don't care if you don't necessarily, I don't care. Get out of there if you don't engage with the band. I mean, there were people who would have loved to be standing where they were standing, and just were and lose their shit during the set. But instead, there were a bunch of people who just stood there like a bunch of fucking rocks and did absolutely nothing. And a band is looking at those people going, why aren't they? What are we doing wrong that they're not enjoying this? And that is not how Denver music has been showing me lately. Denver music has shown me that people get involved, get engaged, and do that. And so to see these people just standing there, it was an embarrassment. It was an embarrassment to the city, to our music scene. And I hope to God it doesn't prevent Lacuna Coil from coming back, or dissuade them from wanting to come back, because they're such an amazing group. They have so much energy and love for their fans. And to see people just standing there like doofuses was embarrassing. So to those people, if you actually watch this, don't come to another fucking show unless you actually do something. So especially with a band that actually gets the crowd engaged and tries to get people going. Because if you're just going to stand there, go to a different concert. Go to an Adele concert, because she doesn't do anything. Great singer, but she just wants people to stand there. So that is my brief rant there, because other than the statue turd people who were there, the crowd was good, the energy was great, and the band was awesome. So fantastic show. Definitely hope to God that Lacuna Coil comes back again soon. Just an awesome show. And the support acts, like I said, even though I wasn't huge on the first couple bands, I do appreciate kind of what they were trying to do. But Stitched Up Heart, I'm really hoping that they can do some more awesome stuff here in the coming years. I'd love to watch them grow as a band and expand, and hear what they have a new album coming out soon too. So hopefully when I pick that up, can't wait to hear what that sounds like. But Lacuna Coil, definitely an amazing band, and I'm so glad I got to see them again live. It's been way too long. Fantastic show, very exciting. Still got a little bit of dark adrenaline in me. So that's my review of the concert last night from Lacuna Coil at the Cervantes Ballroom in Denver. So until next time, which hopefully will be soon, not sure, but hopefully it will be soon. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you were there in the comments. If you were one of those people, I definitely want to hear from you, because I got some words for you. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time. Stay metal.
into my world. Rainbow for me, you sweet, don't you say, oh my